Hello, 7th grade. We're back to a fraction-based lesson. So what I would do after I pose these questions is pause the video for a couple seconds and see if you remember these answers. One of the questions we used to do on our fraction quizzes is what do fractional parts represent? What's the top called? What does that represent? What's the bottom called? What does that represent? So pause the video, see if you still remember those 5 answers. And when we come back, I'll tell you. Fractional parts represent parts of a whole. The word of the day that day was parts. So fractions are to measure when you have part of something. Top is called the numerator, and that tells you the parts that are counted. The bottom is the denominator, and that's going to tell you the parts in all. So the homework will do several different types of problems and ask you to write fractions, and then they'll branch off into something else. Sometimes they'll just say with words, write a fraction for 7/100ths. So the number they give you is always on the top, and then they'll probably give you some sort of a place value kind of number for the bottom. If they say tenths, put a 10. They said hundredths here, put 100, and so on and so forth. They might have said 2 7/8. I don't know. If they say 7/8, just put 7 on top of 8. If you want to feel like you got a feeling on this and you want to try to pause the video, you could try to do these next couple questions before we get started. So I'm telling you, there's a pie cut in 8 pieces. You eat 3 of them, and we're trying to figure out the fraction that's left. If you do that, you don't want to right away just write down 3/8. Okay? You have to read and think about what this thing is asking you. If there's 8 pieces and you ate 3 of them, if they asked you for the fraction that was eaten, that's where you're going 3/8, because they're asking you to count how much got eaten. 3 got eaten. The top tells you what got counted, so do the 3 on the top, the 8 total for the bottom. If they're asking you the fraction left, you have to sometimes figure that out. If there's 8 pieces, you eat 3, how many pieces are there still left? You've got to math that out and realize that there's 5 pieces left by subtracting. If there's 8 total, and you ate 3 of them, there's 5 remaining. So we're going to go 5 out of 8 on that. Another story type question, same kind of thing. Just make sure you answer the question that they ask you. If there's 5 girls out of 14 in a group, and they ask you for the fraction of boys, don't just grab the 5. We're not trying to count the girls. In this question, we're trying to count the boys. We don't know how many boys there are yet. We'd want to use the 5 if they ask for fraction of girls. Fraction of girls, use the 5 girls out of 14. But if it's boys, we're still out of 14, but you have to figure out there would be 9 boys. Take 14, subtract 5, there would be 9 boys in that group, so 9 out of 14. The last question on that quiz we used to do, this 7-point quiz with the parts counted and parts in all and all that stuff, I used to ask you always to do a math problem like this. Okay? If it was half of something, this we could come up with 3. If I gave you a bigger number, like half of 628, we were always looking to divide the bottom into the 628. In that case, that would be 314. Today, that question's going to get a step bigger. Every time we've done one of these before, the numerator was always a 1. So you could get away with just take the bottom, divide it into the number, out shoots an answer. Today, most of the problems are going to give you numerators that are things other than 1s. So that's not going to be the same move anymore. Take a moment, see if you can figure out what the answer would be to either 2/3 of 12, 3/4 of 20, or see if you can figure out a way, a strategy to do that. And when you come back, I'll tell you a way, I'll tell you a strategy. 2/3 of 12, if you're just looking for an answer, the answer would be 8. So if you figured out some way to get 8, you're on the right track. If you couldn't figure out a way to get 8, here's a way to get 8. Is continue to do what we did before. Take the bottom and divide it into the number. So we're going to take 3, divide it into 12, and that's going to go 4 times. If this question were 1/3 of 12, we'd be done. We'd say 4, we'd be out. But it's 2/3 of 12. So we're going to have to do that division to figure out there's 4 in each group of the three groups we're dividing this into, times 2 on top, we get the 8 out of that. If I just lost you, here's an instant replay. Take the bottom and divide it into the number that they give you, and you get some sort of a temporary answer. Take that temporary answer and multiply by the top. So here we went 3 into 12, that's 4, temporary answer. 4 times the top is a way to get 8. If I wanted to show this to you, if we were here in the room, I could grab 12 of something. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 paper clips. So if I want to do 12 paper clips and try to show you what's going on here, to do 2/3 of this, I'm going to have to make like 3 piles. So pile, 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 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. Okay, so we've got 3 groups of 4. When I separated those into the 3 piles, that's like dividing the 12 paper clips into 3 piles. Anything to do with thirds, you'd have 3 piles of those. That made 4, I'm holding 4 paper clips. Every pile has got 4 paper clips. If we've got 2/3 of those, then I would hand you 2 of those piles of 4. 2 times 4 gets us the 8. Back to work, 3/4 of 20. Now that you saw the technique, pause the video, try to do 3/4 of 20, make sure we're okay. If you do 3/4 of 20, the answer should shoot you 15. If you got 15, you're good. If you didn't get 15, here's our strategy again. Take the bottom and divide it into the number. Take the 4 and divide it into 20. I don't have the patience to grab 20 paper clips and sort them out into 4 piles, but that's what's going on. If you're doing fourths and there's 20 items, you'd make 4 piles out of those 20 items. Every pile would have 5. We're going to just go bottom into that number. That gets us temporarily a 5. Then if you get 3/4 of them, I hand you 3 of the stacks. We multiply the top. So 5 times 3, 15. One more time, because I got a little bit of board space here. So if I go 2 11ths of 99. Okay, go for the strategy. The bottom's going to divide into the number. Get a temporary answer. Multiply by the top. See what you got. Pause if you need some time. And I'm saying you'll come back with 18. We're going to go bottom into 99. Goes 9. Take that times the top. You get 18 out of that. The homework, I think half the questions look like this, and half the questions are going to look like this. My question to you, and you can pause the video and think it over for a minute, why does me making that change really change absolutely nothing about these problems? I made a change there, it's still 314. This is still 8, this is still 15, this is still 18. I didn't change anything. Why is that? The reason is, back from 3rd lesson of school, I think, of was a multiply word. So whether I say up or whether I say multiply, it's the exact same thing. So if I wanted to do one more problem and say like 2/9 of 72, or if I want to say 2/9 times 72, that problem would go the same way. It doesn't make any difference whether I say times or whether I say of. We're still doing the same process. 9 into 72 goes 8. 8 times the top is 16. Whether I say of, whether I say times, that's just what you're doing. Homework on this, we're going to 2 locations. So on 49, we're going to just do a little bit of 49. ABCD 4, 5, 6. So that's a little bit of the homework on page 49 of the book, ABCD 4, 5, 6. The main thing we're doing in the book is to the back. There's a whole set of problems like these with ofs and times. So set G, we're all the way to the back. And if you look, when you go look at set G, 1 through 6 use the word of. Then 7 through 12 uses the symbol times. Then 13 for a while, they're back to using of. It's the same thing. Every problem is the same type of problem. Divide the bottom end of the number, get a temporary answer, multiply by the top, and you're going to be good on set G. What the 49 is, 49 is more like the little stories at the beginning. They'll tell you a story, write a fraction. Just make sure you answer the question they ask. If they're asking you about boys, make sure you get the boy number. If they're asking about girls, make sure you get the girl number. Don't just see, hey, there's 3 and an 8, I'll write down 3 8s. Because there's a lot of questions in the rest of the year of the book. They're going to go like this, and you're going to go, hey, it's 1/4. And that's wrong, because they asked you, what fraction did we not shade in? And they want the 3/4 that's not shaded in. So you got to read and pay attention to what they're asking. That's it. If you have any questions, send me an email, and we'll set up a Zoom meeting sometime.